Hello everyone and welcome to PBC Rewind, the first of our weekly shows that will take a look back at the week that was in the Peach Belt and also get you ready for a big weekend coming up. We're going to go sport by sport, reviewing our players of the week and also take a look at the key matchups and events coming up over the next couple of days. We're going to start with men's soccer. After the first full week of action, 5 PBC teams remain undefeated, including Clayton State and Montevallo, both of which are ranked in the national top 25. Clayton State is ranked number 5 in the nation, while Montevallo is number 13. The Lakers defeated 22nd ranked Tampa 2-1 in overtime on Tuesday night, thanks to Ryan Pugh's goal in the 93rd minute. Montevallo is 2-0 on the year, with wins at Lees-McRae and over Milligan in a season-opening tournament last weekend. Also unbeaten are Georgia Southwestern, UNC Pembroke, and Lander. Lander is 1-0-1 after fighting Erskine to a 2-2 tie on Wednesday. That game was the first to be played in the brand new Jeff May complex in Greenwood. Our first PBC players of the week for 2011 were Flagler's Mac Huff and Clayton State's Chris Clute and Brian Garcia. Huff scored a hat trick for the Saints in the season opener, named the offensive player of the week for Flagler. He added another goal against Lees-McRae and has 4 goals in Flagler's first 2 games. The Clayton State pair of Chris Clute and Brian Garcia were named the PBC's defensive and goalkeeper of the week. Clute led the Laker defense, which allowed just 1 goal in the first 2 games. Garcia played 160 shutout minutes in goal in the first 2 contests. The only goal, in fact, the Lakers gave up was a garbage time goal to 17th ranked Anderson in a game that Clayton State was already winning 5-0. This weekend marks the opening of conference play, and there's no better matchup to start the conference season than Montevallo at Flagler, which is tonight at 7 o'clock. You can watch that game live on Flagler's Ustream channel, which the link for you can find on the PBC website and the men's soccer schedule. Flagler was ranked 22nd in the preseason poll, but dropped out after a 2-1 loss to Lees-McRae last weekend. There's no better way for the Saints to get back into the top 25 than with a win over 13th ranked Montevallo. Montevallo is the reigning PBC tournament champions and are coming off 6 days of rest. The other big conference matchup this weekend is North Georgia at USC Aiken on Saturday at 7:30. North Georgia is coming off their first win of the year, and it was a big one as they beat 22nd ranked Tampa 2-1 in overtime on Wednesday night. USC Aiken is 2-2 on the year after they beat Brevard on Wednesday night in the Pacer pit. Also next Wednesday, Georgia Southwestern opens conference play when they host Flagler at 3:30. Now let's move on to women's soccer. The 2011 season is off to a great start as PBC teams have dominated non-conference competition. The Peach Belt is 19-6 so far this season against everyone, with Columbus State and UNC Pembroke ranked in the top 25. Columbus State is ranked 14th in the nation after beating Tusculum 2-1 last Sunday. The Lady Cougars, who won the regular season and tournament championships last year, began the year with a scoreless tie against Southern Indiana. UNC Pembroke scored 13 goals in their first game of the year and are the highest scoring team in the Peach Belt. The Lady Braves are ranked 23rd nationally and are coming off their first tie of the year as they fought Mount Olive to a 1-1 draw on Wednesday. Speaking of Columbus State and UNC Pembroke, they play each other tonight, but we'll have more on that in just a minute. Our first women's soccer players of the week for 2011 are Brittany Diadio of Flagler, Vanny Forsman of UNC Pembroke, and Allie Edens of USC Aiken. Diadio had 2 game-winning goals in Flagler's first 2 games, including the winner with under 3 minutes to play against Limestone for a 2-1 win. Vanny Forsman is the defensive player of the week after leading the Lady Braves to 2 shutouts in their first 2 games and holding Barton to just 2 shots. She also scored 2 goals and added an assist. Allie Edens is the first USC Aiken player to ever be named the PBC goalkeeper of the week. She allowed only 1 goal in 141 minutes and was part of a combined shutout over Coker. This weekend is simply huge with 4 conference matches. As I mentioned, UNC Pembroke visits Columbus State tonight at 7 o'clock. You can watch that game live through Columbus State's Ustream channel. The link is on the schedule. Also tonight, Montevallo visits Flagler at 5 o'clock in St. Augustine, another game that you can watch on Ustream. Again, all Ustream links are available on the PBC website. Just click on the women's soccer schedule. Saturday brings 2 more big games as North Georgia visits USC Aiken. Both teams are undefeated at 3-0. Lander is also 3-0 and makes the trip to Savannah to take on Armstrong Atlantic State University. Armstrong was ranked 11th in the nation in the preseason poll, but dropped out after a loss to Lynn in the opener. The Pirates bounced back with a win at Florida Southern on Sunday and play their first home game against Lander. Over to volleyball, where Armstrong Atlantic State, Flagler, and UNC Pembroke have begun the season with winning records following a heavy tournament play last weekend, with more tournament play coming up for this weekend. Montevallo's Michelle Walker and Armstrong's Ashley Seal were the first PBC Players of the Week for the 2011 season. Walker is a freshman at Montevallo that made quite the impact in her first 4 college games with over 4 kills and 3 digs per set. She had 18 kills and 23 digs against Henderson State and 15 kills against West Georgia. Ashley Seal is the specialist of the week. The Pirate Center had over 11 assists per set for the Pirates. She had 50 assists with 7 digs and 2 blocks against Catawba. She also had 46 assists and 10 digs against Lenore-Rhine. This weekend, the focus is in Aiken for the 2011 Pacer Volleyball Invitational. 12 teams are going to play 22 matches on Friday and Saturday on 3 courts, all in the USC Aiken Convocation Center. Aiken, Augusta, Armstrong, and Flagler will all be participating. You can keep up with the action at pacersports.com. Francis Marion and Montevallo will be in Greenville, Tennessee for the Tusculum Fall Classic, while UNC Pembroke is in St. Petersburg at the Eckerd Classic, and Lander is up in Mount Olive, North Carolina for the Mount Olive Pickle Classic. All of those tournaments begin today. The 2011 cross-country season also began last week, with about half the conference teams running in their first meets. UNC Pembroke came off the line very well, with their men's and women's teams winning the Gamecock Invitational. Pardon Louvu and Livia Mahaffey were named the PBC Runners of the Week for the Braves. Louvu won the Gamecock with a 5K time of 15:07, which was not only the fastest Division II time, but also faster than any of the Division I runners at the meet. Mahaffey had the fastest 5K run of anyone in the PBC for the opening weekend, and the only 5K under 20 minutes, as she ran it in 1958 to win the Gamecock. The win was the first in her career. This weekend actually starts tonight, as USC Aiken runs at Erskine and Francis Marion runs at UNC Wilmington. Columbus State will begin their quest for a 6th straight men's and 7th straight women's cross-country championship this Saturday as they open the season at the Georgia Southwestern Remembrance Run. Georgia Southwestern will, of course, also be running, as will Clayton State. This week also saw the start of the fall golf season. The big event was the annual Kiowa Island Invitational hosted by USC Aiken. Georgia Southwestern won the event, which features 17 teams, including 5 PBC teams. Conference schools took the top 3 places, with Aiken finishing 2nd and Armstrong in 3rd. Georgia College was 6th and North Georgia was 10th. Individually, USC Aiken's Taylor Wellborn won the event and was named the first PBC Golfer of the Week. Wellborn and Georgia Southwestern's J.P. Griffin both shot 68s in the opening round, but Wellborn fired a 71 in the second round, while Griffin had a 72, giving Wellborn the individual title in his first tournament as a Pacer. Next up for men's golf is the Spring Hill Suites Intercollegiate in Florence, where USC Aiken and Georgia College will play. Also, Georgia Southwestern will be playing at the Alabama State Fall Classic. All of those tournaments begin on Monday the 12th. In women's golf, Montevallo was the only team to play last week as they participated in the Gamecock Classic at Jacksonville State. The majority of PBC women's teams will begin the season this Monday. North Georgia, Columbus, and Montevallo will be playing at the Smoky Mountain Intercollegiate, hosted by Carson Newman, while Flagler begins at the Anderson Invitational. And that's our first PBC Rewind show of the year. We hope you check back on the Peach Belt channel here on Ustream to see the other live events we have coming up. We hope to have a regular schedule of live programming as the season progresses. Thanks to Carl Segura for my director today, and for everybody here at the Peach Belt Conference, I'm Ken Gerlinger. We'll see you next time.